Alright guys, and welcome back into another episode of HDP, our coverage of Hillary Duff's Prime Fantasy League. I'm your commissioner, Zach, also known as the Toronto Taintstains. I'm joined by my fellow hosts, as always, Brady and Reed, also known as the London Silly Nannies and Toronto Taintstains. Today we're joined by Ty, also known as the New York Diversity Hires here in HDP. Before we jump into week 7 reactions, Ty, do you have a fantasy story or something, a fantasy history you want to say real quick?
Well, I just want to start off by saying thank you guys for allowing me to play in the league with y'all.
Absolutely. Thank you for being here too, by the way.
Yeah, like I said, appreciate inviting me to come on and talk with y'all. And as far as backstory and stuff, I mean, nothing real special. I've just been playing fantasy football for a long time. I love the sport of football. I love watching it. I loved playing it when I was younger. And,
what'd you play?
I played running back and strong safety and a little bit of middle linebacker, outside linebacker. And I just have a love for the sport, and now, I'm a huge New York Giants fan. Have been a Giants fan my whole life. I could call them.
You're like you're in my house right now, honestly.
Okay, understandable, man.
Should have came with a David Tyree jersey.
No, he wouldn't have got it. You can't commit him that.
I don't even got a David Tyree jersey. I don't think you can buy them.
Yeah, they're probably
Special order.
honestly, they're probably pretty expensive.
Yeah.
There's probably not a lot of them. Once they're out there, probably worth some money.
Oh yeah. But yeah, like I was saying,
have you ever won a fantasy league?
I have won a couple years. Nice. I haven't won a league. It's probably been 2-3 years now since I won a league. Last time I would have won was probably 2018-19 season. It was when I was in college with my college buddies. And I just happened to get I got a really loaded draft. I drafted a lot of rookies that year who balled out. I drafted Saquon in the first round. I ended up getting Zeke in the second. I went back-to-back running backs.
I was Zeke's last good year, right?
Yeah, because Zeke was beat Saquon for the rushing leader and touchdowns by a few 100 yards and 1 or 2 touchdowns.
Damn, yeah.
My running backs carried me that year.
I'm sure, yeah, that's nice.
And then I haven't won a league since. Best I've done is second.
Hopefully you can win one this year, just not HDP.
And the hope is to win all of them.
Stainman's riding all the way up to first.
I need you down, bro.
What's that?
I need you to be as bad as possible. I'm sorry.
Yeah. That was part. I knew that was coming when
nothing personal.
Yeah,
nothing personal.
You had to root against me. At least it's just for this year.
Yeah. No, it's not for long term.
Yeah.
No rivalry. I just want you to implode.
Yeah. So actually, I guess quickly before we jump into the Week 7 recap, Ty, you have also been trying to get at McCaffrey as well.
Yeah.
So I'll go ahead and throw out what my current offer is. And he actually does have 18 hours to accept it. Actually, it's probably 17 by now to accept. Or I'm just going to move on because it's taking forever.
I don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it is a lot.
For a guy who's probably got 2 good years left, maybe. He's small.
Yeah,
has injury.
That's fine.
His injury.
I don't need
history.
2 years is fine. I don't need more than 1 more year, honestly.
Man.
Why you're not winning this year?
Yeah, I mean, if you fall short, it's just damn, I gave up that for a guy who just couldn't quite get it done. I'm saying, you do you, man. That's just me. What I would do personally is I don't think I would give up that pick, including in any trade for him. Not in this draft.
I'm not that worried about the draft picks personally. Just because college players, I don't pay a lot of attention to college football in the first place, so I'm not going to be the one to scout out college players real well anyways.
And that's how I am and how I feel as well. Yeah, I keep up with some of the top prospects, because I see them on with my NFL app. Even when I'm going and looking at fantasy stuff, it's looking at next year, these are the people you want to start looking at now to possibly draft. And take a guy like Puka, for example. He was a, 6th round pick or 5th round
nobody was
pick in the
thinking
draft.
about, yeah.
Nobody was thinking about him, and
he's a waiver wire.
he's a waiver wire. The only
He
reason
might be a rookie, but you weren't picking him up because your rookie always going to be good, this and that. Maybe in a deep dynasty league.
I like to scout probably like the first 2 to 3 rounds, just because I love mock drafts. I really do. But as far as like deep into like that far, like no, I couldn't identify. Like,
were you seeing Puka in a lot of those mock drafts?
I mean, like I would look at 7-round mock drafts for and he would pop up, and I also watch BYU because Jaron Hall, that's his quarterback he was throwing to. So yeah, I'd seen a little bit in college. I didn't think he was gonna be anything special.
Certainly not like a top 10 wide receiver.
He he could have carved out a good,
especially with Cooper cut back too.
Yeah,
the fact that he's still doing it is
amazing.
Yeah, and AB's welfare, his team, that's gonna be nice.
Did
you guys not see what Kyle Slaughter said about Puka today?
I did.
Who's Kyle Slaughter?
Exactly. Exactly. He was a did he make the active roster on Minnesota ever? I don't know. Everyone always had high potential with him in preseason. He's the next big thing, and then he'd just be cut. It's just he has.
You talking shit?
Kyle Slaughter?
Yeah.
He's talking shit on Puka, saying he's an average receiver or something. You can pull up the tweet here.
That's not what you want to do when you're getting cut from practice squads.
Yeah, I don't even think he's even actively trying to play anymore. As far as
he said, hot take. This is going to piss a lot of people off, but Puka Nacua is an average receiver at this point in his career. Did my own film study, has average speed, below average quickness, route running is so-so, good hands, and good understanding of the game and his plus qualities. If you want to take him out of the game, play man-to-man. Hearing the same from NFL corners I've spoken with. He may still have the stats because of volume and targets, but I think there's more improvement to be made before he moves into wide receiver 1 talk. Truly hope I proves me wrong. Great story to this point, regardless.
I mean, that's
honestly from his point of view, because he's talking about on the field, not fantasy wise. I don't think he said anything that bad.
And I mean, even from on the field perspective, I haven't done a film study or really watched a whole lot of Rams football this year, so I haven't seen him play. But that could be an accurate statement. Especially when you compare him to a guy on his own team like Cooper Kupp, who at 30 or 31 years old still has elite quickness and speed to go with elite route running and hands.
All right, man. If you find those gems in the 5th round, Stephon Diggs is the 5th round pick. You can name a lot of them.
Even undrafted.
Tyreek Hill, 5th round pick. Yeah.
Tom Brady 6th round. But back to the trade though. My offer was McCaffrey and Goddard for Jimmy Garoppolo and Daniel Jones because he does want quarterbacks. And I know if it seems like he's trying to not necessarily be good this year, so I know he's gonna have maybe a chance at Caleb Williams this year. Potentially, he's not out of that running by any stretch.
Is he the consensus number 1 pick in this draft? Do you think?
More than likely, unless something goes wrong.
There have been a few rumors and a few people who have talked
Harrison
about.
Jr.
No, Drake May.
Well, yeah, Drake May is awesome. He's going to be awesome too.
They've talked about him possibly going number 1 overall because he's the better overall. He doesn't have as much upside and athleticism necessarily.
Plays better in structure.
He's the better overall quarterback prospect at this point in time.
He's got some athleticism to him too. I heard someone compare him to a little bit more of an athletic Big Ben, which I was okay, I totally see that. It's 6'4", big arm, accurate, can throw on the run, so yeah, totally see it.
Yeah, but so I offered him those 2 quarterbacks, Jonnu Smith, who is actually tight end 8 in our league this year, and Dallas Goedert's only tight end 6, so he's not really even losing much there, if anything.
Which is kind of a matchup.
And then Andre Madison, who probably going to get you 10 to 12 fantasy points for the rest of the season.
Yeah.
Alex Madison.
What'd I say?
Andre.
Did I say it again?
Yeah.
I think it was a different name last week.
No, I said Andre.
I'm
pretty sure it was Andre. I don't know, maybe it was. But then I offered him a first round pick in 2025 and 2026, and also Slick Vic's 2nd round this year. Yeah, I feel like that's a haul for him, and I feel like that makes me. I feel like where that would put my roster. I feel like that would put my roster with as good as any of them in the league for this year, anyways. Like Reed had said, McCaffrey might only have a year or two, or maybe that was you that said that. And that might be, but you know what? If I win 1 year and I win one jackpot, that pays for my fantasy football for the next 7 years. And I'm confident that within that 7 years, even if I kind of just sell to win this year, I can rebuild a team within that time and get back on track to pay for the next 7 years within that time. But that was my offer to him. What is your offer?
So I kind of feel the same way about like you. My team is right now for a very young.
We're in a similar
team.
situation.
Yeah, similar situation. And my biggest thing for me right now is my team has been underperforming, like very bad. It hasn't been good. I got Bijan who put up 0.3 because the Falcons decided to not say he was sick. David Montgomery, who when he's healthy,
but he's still going on the field and stuff too.
Yeah, which was weird.
It was weird. There was something going on.
I think so too. But David Montgomery, who when active, has been amazing for my fantasy team.
One of the best running backs in fantasy so far.
I'll have him like week 1, week 2. Then I didn't have him week 3. He came back week 4 and week 5, and then I haven't had him since then with a rib injury. So that makes it hard to have consistent running back play. And as a result, I feel as a player like Christian McCaffrey, who is putting up almost quarterback-like numbers in our league as a running back, is that piece that can set me over the edge to win. And when I offered him a trade, I tried to go kind of like a mid-tier running back and then a higher quality quarterback along with my first round pick this year, and I offered him Gus Edwards at running back and Trevor Lawrence at quarterback.
I mean, yeah, that's not a bad offer either. He could probably, with that, because then he would have 2 first-round picks this year, plus he get his quarterback.
Yeah.
And have a young quarterback.
But then he's going to have to hope to find another running back. And if I'm not mistaken, he needs wide receiver help fairly decent. Yeah. Devontae Smith is his wide receiver 1, and I don't think that's where you want to be.
Yeah.
Who's his wide receiver 1?
Devontae Smith.
Oh, he's a good wide receiver 2.
Yeah, he's an awesome wide receiver 2, but wide receiver 1, no.
Yeah.
Drake London, solid wide receiver 2. He's got some wide receiver 2s.
I like Drake London.
Yeah.
He's got some other things to address too. And if he trades Dallas Goedert, he's going to have to look at tight end as well.
I don't know why you want to trade Goddard, honestly.
I mean, he's got Cole
Yeah.
Kmet, and Kmet usually plays fairly well for Chicago because he's a good safety
he might like
valve.
Kmet, that's true.
But I think Kmet's one of those guys who's very matchup based, not somebody who you can rely on week in, week out for consistent numbers.
I guess he's got Higbee too. That's not a bad second option at tight end. I don't know. I just hope he makes a fucking decision soon. I'm tired of waiting.
I agree.
Man, the trade deadline is another few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely, it sure is. But
I get you guys.
there's just been like no communication. Everything I've heard is from through Reed.
Yeah. I get the impatience for sure.
Yeah, the anticipation is building.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that is what it is. I guess anyways, now that we got the Christian McCaffrey trade talk out the way, we can go ahead and jump into the Week 7 recap. Brady, why don't you go ahead and start? What led you to that successful L?
That successful L. Honestly, Jacoby showed up like he always does. Stevenson actually played pretty well, considering, I mean, not well as stats, but he got me 16 fantasy points. So Lamar Jackson balled out. My tight end balled out. Brandon Powell seems like a good pickup, but really playing Ingram, totally missed. I thought he was playing, but they didn't get a freaking offensive snap. Gibson, that wasn't a tough week because I had a bye. I had to play Christian Watson in my super flex, and that really didn't pan out. Should have played Kelly. Also, TK was hurt. Yeah, just underperformers in certain spots really led me to a successful loss.
Yeah.
Considering what I'm
1 week closer to the number 1 pick?
1 week closer?
1 week closer to the number 1 pick.
Yeah, and it's gonna be it'd be close.
Have you thought about if you get that number 1 pick, maybe trading it for and getting a bunch of value? Like if you like your roster where it's at, then maybe you could trade a couple, like the pick for a couple pieces that you think complete your team.
Probably have to be a haul, honestly, with
Yeah.
this number 1 pick. Yeah.
You think Caleb Williams or Marvin Harrison Jr. would be worth that much?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I do. Those are 2 can't miss prospects, and those are honestly the 2 in contention for the number 1 pick, in my opinion. Marvin Harrison Jr., you just don't really pass on a 6'4" receiver who runs a 4.3 40.
Yeah.
And
That also has a bloodline from
and
an
has,
all-time great receiver.
Yeah, and has
like,
the numbers.
probably
he's
top
putting
10
up.
all-time receiver.
Yeah, arguably. Arguably had one of the best seasons. I think he had the most catches.
Yeah,
And
it was
he-
like 138.
Yeah, until Michael Thomas broke it a few years ago. But yeah.
How are you feeling about your loss, Ty, last week?
I mean, like I said, it was a lot of underperformance. I mean, Gino was projected 38 and only scored 26. I mean, we already kind of touched upon it a little bit. 0.3 from Bijan,
Calvin Ridley 1.5.
1.5.
Gabe Davis 1.6. Who's bouncing back this week? You're getting more out of him already.
Gabe, yeah, and I mean, I'm disappointed in Gabe because he had 1 reception on 5 targets.
That's Gabe Davis though.
But that's Gabe Davis.
Especially with the season he's already had, you had to know that another dub was coming.
It was coming, yep. And I had him in my fantasy last year, and he's one of those guys who I believe is another matchup-based player. He's going to have his weeks where he has 20-something points because Josh Allen's just targeting him.
And he gets like a couple red zone targets.
Yeah, because everybody's blanketing Stephon Diggs, but then you get the next week where the defense is playing a little bit more zone coverage.
And he gets like 2 targets.
Then gets 2 targets, or he drops everything.
Yeah, he's a really nice flex option. I like him.
Yep.
Not a lot else to say about my and Reed's matchup. He did cheat for sure.
Yeah, blew him out by 80. Cheated so hard.
Because you cheated. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Cheated
No,
by superior draft
honestly,
skills.
I didn't really expect to win. I had a crazy bye week, plus with injuries too. Just it was bad. It was just a patchwork, very patchwork lineup, and my kicker got me. What was it? 1 point. Yeah, and there was at a point where he was like -1.5. So, fuck it, I'll take the 1, whatever, I guess. But I played Latavius Murray and Darius Slayton at my flexes and super flex. So that about sums it up. But did have some positives to take away. Jordan Addison doing what I hope he would do with Stephon Diggs out. Kendrick Bourne, another solid week. He's definitely looking like the number 1 guy in there in New England. About fucking time. Other than that, yeah. Tyson Bagent, I had him too. He had a decent day. Kind of hope he goes the fuck off next week and steals that job from Justin Fields.
That'd be sick. I want nothing more. Hopefully they win in the process. That's what I really want.
Why? Because if Tyson Bagent is good, then they just found their QB of the future, and they get
No,
stuff for Justin Fields too.
good enough to be mid. Good enough to fool him long enough to where they'll
Okay,
get one.
all right, yeah. Because if he's legit, that could set the Bears up for something nice. Because you could get a nice little, maybe not a haul for Fields, but
Yeah,
Get a few picks.
you'd probably get
Yeah.
like a day 2 pick maybe. A little off topic here, but I'm starting to agree with Nolan before the season. I think kickers are freaking worthless, in my opinion. Just in our league, I would.
Why?
I don't really think they're a needle mover anywhere. They're just kind of there to put up. I really just think they're just irrelevant, in my opinion. They don't score a lot. They're just like 1 fucking point. Like you might as well just not.
I don't know about that. Like, they don't
yeah,
score
I mean,
a lot.
you can have a kicker go out for 17, like the Chiefs kicker did a couple weeks ago, but I don't know. And I'm also seeing a lot of people on Twitter who are in a lot of leagues saying they did away with kickers. Just I don't know. That's just I kind of agree with Nolan. No, after this year. Just my little hot take.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's not that many points. I mean, there's at least like normally about 10 a week, and over 10 points.
I said Jake Moody has consistently scored me 8 to 14 points every week.
Yeah, Brett Maher, he's been actually up until my game where he had 1
Fuck this
point.
guy.
He's at 13 and a half, 13 and a half, 11 and a half, 15, 2, 15 and a half, then 1.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I mean, my argument against that is, my kicker has been more productive for me consistently than Calvin Ridley has
That's
been.
insane.
That's insane. Yeah,
So,
Got to make up the play
sad.
somewhere.
That's sad.
That might be the best argument we get.
Man.
Oh, fuck.
That's more on Calvin Ridley, though. My God.
it's painful.
No,
Yeah,
that's funny.
painful.
But yeah, anyways, long story short, Titletown cheated. Stain Wave will bounce back and ride on. Conquistadors continue to trending up after another win against Bryce. Dong on TDs defeated Snowbone to even both their records at 5-2. The top of the league's getting there's the league's open, but you're kind of also starting to see the tiers starting to form a little bit.
Yeah.
Which is why I'm trying to make that trade to get out of the tier I'm in. But
Come down under my tier. I would like that.
no, hard pass.
Come on.
Hard pass. But yeah, so right now, so far in the league, we got Reed, Titletown Bearcats, solely in number 1 at 6-1. Then at second place, we got 3 teams tied to take up the top 4 spots, and that's Dong on TDs, Carson, who was on the show a couple weeks ago, Nolan, and then OG Snowbone. And then right outside, you got AB's Welfare and Conquistadors, who I think both can compete. But we'll probably... I think Snowbone probably more towards that mid-tier than probably either one of those teams. I think as the year goes on, he'll probably trend more back towards the middle of the pack. And those two will keep trending up. Conquistadors on a 3-game win streak. Moving up to 4-3. So, yeah. Him and they right there. And then Ty, Diversity Hires, Tree J, and myself are all 3-4, taking up 7th, 8th, and 9th place. 10th place, Bryce. And then rounding out the bottom of the league is Tricky Dicky and London Silly Nannies hanging on to that number 1 pick by 8th thread.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what do we have next? Got league standings. Go too far. Did that. Okay, the notable starters from week 7 were Patrick Mahomes going off 62 points. Kind of outdid Lamar, who went off for 55. Crazy Deontay Foreman, 36 points. A nice pickup there. My guy, Jordan Addison, was the receiving leader at 35.8. Travis Kelce, almost 41 points at tight end. Must be nice. Blake Groupie, fuck you, Reed, at 10.5 points.
Yep.
Miles Garrett, 35.5 at defensive line. Very nice on the defensive line right there.
Both Miles Garrett and Patrick Mahomes.
Nice. Cam Bynum, 28.5 for defensive back. Alua Khan, of course, at 41.5 points, the linebacking leader. The Browns defense, 38 points for Reed as well. Get fucked. Weekly awards. Probably skip past those for today.
I
Unless
would
you
like
go
to
for
know
one.
number 1 defensive back in the league in fantasy this year.
Bynum
Yeah, it's dropped.
right now.
For the he's like 30 points ahead of second guy.
For now.
I don't know if you know that.
He'll fall off.
You hope.
He'll fall off.
Too bad he's elite in this defense right now.
He'll fall off.
You hope.
Vikings defense sucks.
Oh,
Fucking shit. So with that, do you guys? We're gonna skip the week activity for this week because there was a lot of it. We're not gonna take the time to go through it. So, do you guys want to go ahead and go on to power rankings?
Can do that.
For move going into week 8.
Yeah, going into week 8 after this week. Going into week 8, yeah. Let's go first. You.
Sure, yeah. Mine hasn't just really a little bit of movement up top. Number 1 stays the same as it has been probably every week, I think, is me, Titletown Bearcats. Number 2, Dong on TDs. Awesome team. Nolan moving up to number 3. AB's Welfare moving up to 4. And Snowbone was the biggest fall from grace this week. He moved down 3 to 5. Conquistadors moved up 1 to 6, and New York Diversity Hires down 1 to 7. And then 8 through 12 is all the same. Taint Stains, Tree J, Bryce, Tricky Dicky, Silly Nannies.
Okay. Do you have a power rankings?
No.
No, that's fine. That's
Yeah.
fine. You don't have to have one.
I mean, I kind of just go off of the league power rankings. I mean, personally, I would swap a couple of things around. I would put ABs above OG right now. I mean, even though record-wise, but I think AB's Welfare's team is trending up, especially with Acne or Achane, however you say it. Achane. Him coming back from injury here before too long, I think that'll really help his team out quite a bit, and he'll move up there. Other than that, I would say I have most of it pretty much the same. I mean, I have you above Tree J, but at the bottom of the league.
I should be number 1, honestly.
Nope. No way.
All right. Brady, you want to go ahead?
Sure. Nothing changed at the top spot. It's Carson. There's like top to bottom, he has the best roster. 2, Close, Nolan. Those 2 teams I expect to probably be in the finale, honestly. 3, I got AB, actually. He's trending up, and he's got more points scored than Titletown, who comes in at 4, and OG at 5. And the Conquistadors, 6. Diversity Hires 7. Got the Taint Stains 8. Tree J 9. Coop 10. Tricky 11, and myself 12.
Okay. Yeah, mine haven't changed too much coming on from this week.
Am I going to be last? Is this going to be a shocker or something?
No, I don't think it'll be too much of a shocker here. So number one, we got Reed Sucks. Roster just isn't that great, kind of carried by a linebacker. Number 2, we got Reed Sucks. They've been looking pretty good, just a good team. Number 3, moving up 2 spots is Reed Sucks. They wouldn't have the squad at all if it weren't for their QB2 just really carrying them as well this year. Number 4, Reed Sucks. Patchwork team that has only gotten their record due to favorable matchups. Number 5, Reed also sucks. They're pretty solid, but I'm not so sure they can contend. Number 6, Reed sucks big time. That one's pretty self-explanatory. Number 7, sneakily moving up 3 spots is Reed Sucks. They've been building something there. I like what they got going on. Number 8 is Reed Still Sucks. They don't have a real RB1, just a very mid RB room all around. Just no good running backs there. Not something you want to see if you're building like a title contending team. Number 9, Reed Sucks big brown donkey dick. They just they lack a receiver due to poor drafting. Just not that great of a draft when it comes to receivers. Very Bill Belichickian. Good on defense, bad at receiver. Reed Sucks huge wing coming in at number 10. They just have not looked good and are really underperforming. Number 11 is Reed Sucks and can get fucked. Just a bad roster. Number 12, to rounding out the bottom again, is Reed Sucks, but of course we all know they're tanking. So that's my power rankings. Like I said, not a lot of change there, not a lot of difference. Yes, Reed.
I have a question. When you say favorable matchups, do you mean the fantasy players have favorable matchups, or who I'm playing against?
Who you're playing against?
Okay, because I beat Carson, so I just want to.
I beat Carson. In a favorable week. In a favorable week.
Oh.
In a favorable week.
Yeah, I would say honestly my team has overperformed this year. It's super young, especially my wide receiving core. I traded for Chris Godwin, and that's a nice pickup. But
yeah, just very mid receiving room. Poorly drafted.
So it's crazy. Is two of my receivers are above Lamb, and Chris Godwin, who also had a bye, was only 8 behind Lamb going into this week.
Lamb just had his bye too.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make really any difference at all.
So
I also had 3 receivers ahead of, or 2 receivers ahead of Lamb. So for just very mid receiver room.
weird. Are you like 3 and 4? Your receiver room is so good. How are you 3 and 4, bro?
I've just been getting tough matchups week to week.
Not favorable. Okay, gotcha.
I literally played a dude who scored like 298 points. Have you had to do that yet,
you
Reed?
play Carson that week? Oh shit.
I played AB's welfare the week that he set the league record.
Yeah.
He put 303.
I have been fortunate in that regard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That was the one of the 3 weeks that my team has hit its projections.
You've played a dig for ball schedule, bro.
Vic beat me by 40. He scored 252, and then Ty and I were both 246. So other than that, yeah, like I've gotten pretty. I did score 272 and 267, and pretty.
You're number 2 in points allowed, meaning teams have only scored the second least amount of points against. The only person that's had less points scored against them is Snowbone, who we've all already kind of agreed is not as good as his record says he is. I don't know, Reed. I think you're probably a mid-tier team. Bad receiver,
think I'm getting
bad
lucky?
running backs, carried by Zaire, carried by Kirk.
Carried by my defense, really.
Yeah, your defensive players are nice.
Yeah.
I can't
I got-
argue there.
I got the-
You nailed that on your
Yeah.
draft.
Yeah.
Like I said, very Bill Belichick in.
Yeah, I was gonna say my defense is holding up. That's why. At least the
Say
second
Flowers
least
is
allowed.
nice.
There you go. Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that spin.
Yeah.
Yeah, Samuel Porter was a good draft pick.
Yeah,
my
yeah, he
team.
was.
So honestly, 6-1 is. If I lose this week, I wouldn't be shocked. I'm gonna keep it real. And I almost picked against myself. I may have. No, I picked myself.
Well, we can just go ahead and go into that then this week and jump into your matchup, if you'd like.
Yeah, I'm playing Tree J, and I am scared because Mahomes coming off 62 points. I know it's a divisional game, but I feel like his fantasy players have better matchups compared to mine this week, although Chris Godwin's doing pretty good for me tonight at 17.5.
Yeah.
I do have the second and third for fantasy points tight ends, and number 3 on the bench at 15.5, and I don't know. I never know if I want to play him or not. Just I can never make up my mind. Zare's just been killing it this year, so I don't have a reason not to, really. I didn't feel like anyone's matchup was better than the other. But I picked myself. I don't know what you guys picked, and I will add that I've read that Lockett is not playing this week, so I'm plugging in Smith and Jigba. I was reading that earlier today.
That hurts.
So hopefully he can get another 20 plus and just carry my team, please. I need some wide receiver help, that is for sure.
Yeah. This week I had Tree J winning because Reed sucks.
God damn.
I'm kidding. This was actually kind of a tough one to pick. I kind of wanted to see what happened like during this game right now to see what Godwin and Cook did. If Cook kind of, I guess if he doubles that and gets you to about 13 points, that's not too bad. But Godwin's gonna have a good game. He's already off to a nice start. He's probably gonna have close to 30 points.
I would like
So you're probably gonna win the receiver battle this week.
And I would like to add for our back and forth about CeeDee Lamb and Godwin and our receivers that 17 points right now puts him about 5 points ahead of Lamb. So anything above here just keeps putting him above, and then hopefully Lamb can have a good game, but he won't because he's mid. Traded for mid. It's all right.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see about that. But I do like his running back room, at least for this week. I don't like Mostert all year or that much for a dynasty league. Oh, only 7 points last week. What was his snap share? 53. Down a little bit. Yeah, I don't know about Mostert. Maybe not. Yeah, honestly, probably Titletown this week. Flexes are pretty even, honestly. You're probably going to win the super flex. Kirk versus Jordan Love there. Of course, you're going to win the IDP matchup.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. He does have Miles. He actually does have a pretty solid IDP matchup. Myles Garrett can obviously go off. Poyer's is off to a good start. 11 points in the first half out of the defensive back. I guess Pete Warner actually has not been as consistent as I thought he has. he could use a lot more upside there at linebacker. So yeah, I'll go Titletown.
All right.
Yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Titletown as well. Yeah, I don't think Mahomes is gonna have a crazy game. I think even though he is playing Denver, it's a divisional game, and they'll probably come out a little flat. So, and Mostert, I don't think is gonna have a good game against New England. So, and Eckler has been pretty disappointing. So,
I think he'll bounce back eventually.
Mm,
Although I don't know,
I mean,
because he isn't a
eventually-
Kellen Moore offense, and he
yeah, dude, they
Probably
pass a
gonna
lot.
make
They're
three
very
red
pass
backs.
heavy. Yeah, flex option there. Receivers, Zay Flowers and Cooper. I like Cooper a little bit more there. But he definitely got the edge on tight end. Yeah, and Kirk should have a good game if they have their shit together. So it'll be close.
Ty, you got a pick?
I say I'm leaning a little bit towards Titletown as well. I think it's going to be a real close matchup, though. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a bad game against Washington. He had a good game against Washington the first time they played, and usually divisional games like that, especially in the NFC East, very rarely do you have one team play really good twice. And you can go back, and I mean, it's even evident throughout who's won the NFC East. There hasn't been a repeat winner since like 2003 or 2004. So I think this game, I think Washington's going to Washington's front seven, I think are going to kind of have their way with the Eagles this time. And I think Mahomes is going to have a good game, but he isn't going to replicate that 62-pointer.
Definitely.
But yeah, I think Mahomes is going to outscore Hurts by a good chunk there. I think Jacobs has got Mostert beat. He's coming in with limited on an ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
Today was his first practice of the week. Even if he does play, I don't like that matchup against New England's defense, especially with him questionable. I think he's going to end up not getting as many touches as their backups are. Eckler is one of those guys, like you said. I mean, he hasn't really done a whole lot, but that's a lot. It has to do with the Kellen Moore offense. Real pass heavy, and they don't really use their running backs too much until red zone. But when you got a guy like Keenan Allen who gets you touchdowns before you even make it 20 yards within the red zone, makes it hard for Eckler to become real viable.
Their offense has just not been as good as maybe some people would have hoped this year.
Mhm.
Yep.
Tank Dell, I don't think he's outscoring Godwin.
Not at this point.
I think McLaurin will have a really good game, and that'll kind of even out the wide receiver battle there a bit. Njoku, I don't think is outscoring Laporta.
Not a chance.
I cannot see it. I mean, unless he gets a bunch of red zone targets, I can't foresee that
I
happening.
think Watson's out again too, so problematic for him.
And one that kind of I think that intrigues me a little bit for Tree J's team is Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
I think Michael Thomas could potentially have a really big game. He's been kind of consistently scoring 12 to 15 points on 6 to 8 targets, somewhere in that 5 to 7 reception range. And I don't think he's scored very many touchdowns this season. I think this game, Indianapolis has this season, I mean, a lot of their games have been shootouts. I think Michael Thomas is going to have a big game and it'll help even out things as well. But, I mean, all around, I don't think Jordan Love is outscoring Kirk Cousins. I think Jackson Smith will have a big game if DK or Tyler Lockett doesn't play. And I mean, Zay Flowers has been balling. So I think, even though projections say otherwise, I think Tree J has a real obstacle to beat Titletown this week. It'll be close, but I got to give it to Titletown.
Agreed.
Good stuff.
Going on to Tricky Dicky versus the Diversity Hires. I'm going to take Tricky Dicky. I think he might win this week. I think he's better this week at running back through tight end. And I wouldn't be surprised if T. Higgins comes back a little bit coming by off the flex. Or comes back a little bit coming off the bye. Coming off the flex. Comes back a little bit off the bye to kind of carry the flex spot there. But I think the Diversity Hires IDP spot.
Well, I don't know if you've seen Gabe Davis is scoring right now. But
Oh yeah, I did have that.
and also
yeah.
Mike Evans. So
Yeah, that is true.
put that into account for sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, with what's going on, in the game now, I guess that was before this game had started. Yeah, with that going on, I am probably actually.
I'm going Diversity Hires for sure. I think Trevor Lawrence is going to have a good game against Pittsburgh. And Bijan should bounce back against Tennessee, who's obviously giving up on the season. Baltimore's offense looks explosive. Gus Edwards probably gets a teddy.
Bijan hasn't even been that electric though. I mean,
What's that?
as far as fantasy goes, Bijan hasn't even been that great. Fantasy's only hit over 20 points 3 times so far.
I mean, yeah, he's gotten double digit quite a bit. I mean, he's got
Yeah.
21, 27, 22. He should bounce back for at least 15 points against Tennessee. Yeah.
I don't think Mike Evans gonna finish with that little bit.
I would
of
like
punch
Tricky
there.
to win to back off that one pick. For a little bit, but, I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm not worried about it.
I made all of my picks pre-recording, and I picked New York Diversity Hires to win it. I just feel like his team's going to get it done this week. I don't think Tricky Dicky gets his second win. It's not happening, and looks like it's going to trend towards a tie win, which I'm all for.
Yeah.
What do you think of your matchup, Ty?
I mean, obviously, I think I'm gonna win. I hope I win. Like I said, I really need to break this 3-game losing streak. I think the big matchups to look at are gonna be Pacheco against Denver. If Calvin Ridley actually does something this week or not, and I think the 2 players who are going to end up saving me, especially if Tyler Lockett isn't good to go, is going to be Nico Collins and Darren Waller. I feel that Nico's going to have a big week coming off the bye against Carolina. J.C. Horn's been in and out, and they've let up a lot to number 1 wide receivers. Stroud and Collins have had a good connection all season. I think that's going to continue to flourish there. And I think Darren Waller's going to have another big week as well coming off that week he just had. And I think those 2 are going to be the guys to carry me to a victory here.
Yeah. I agree fully. I don't like Tricky's matchups at all. I don't think Joshua Dobbs is going to have a very good game against Baltimore's defense. Yeah, it's going to be rough.
You're gonna light him up. What do you mean?
Shit.
My
I think
QB2
Baltimore.
worries me a bit because, I mean, I got Geno against Cleveland, and Cleveland's had a real tough defense this year, but I also have Sam Howell against Philly, who he had a real bad game against Philly earlier this season, and he is coming off a real bad game against New York, and we haven't been a good team, so that worries me a bit, but
Yeah.
I don't think Russell Wilson is going to have a great game against Kansas City necessarily either.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he could pull one out of his ass for a week, but probably not, like you said. And yeah, it's tough for Dobbs going against Baltimore's T, who I think might be the biggest threat to the Chiefs right now.
There's definitely a chance, yeah. They look good.
Really good when they're clicking on all cylinders. Man, Lamar is insane.
Yeah.
He might win MVP this year.
Agreed. Going on forward to a battle between 2 nameless teams, Nolan and Bryce. Pretty clearly going Nolan here. I don't think it's much of a question.
Yeah, not much to discuss on that one. It's going to be a clinic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would honestly expect Price to be drafting in the top 3 this year.
Oh yeah.
100%. 100%.
I think he's got a good chance to be top 2.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that auto draft really messed up his team.
Yeah, also Jesse drafting 3 tight ends for him really didn't help. But
because it's for
And he didn't draft all that great at quarterback either.
has no depth at receiver.
Yeah, he took Deshaun Watson as his QB1, which I laughed at when I was watching the draft.
That's rough.
And yeah, his QB2 is Matt Stafford. He
Full
didn't
strategy.
he didn't draft a third QB, which personally I don't think was a very smart decision, because just how much of a difference a solid QB could be for your team.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Alright, now for that we got what might be the matchup of the week, Conquistadors at AB's Welfare. A couple of 4-3 teams, both trying to move up into that next tier this week.
It's like Josh Allen's going
Yeah,
off right
Josh
now.
Allen going off there at a 50-50 projection lock right now.
Kincaid.
Josh Allen at 40 fantasy points almost with about half the third quarter to play still.
Yeah.
So that will be nice. Gosh, wow, are you my God.
This is
Imagine
looking
being
like a
like
really
80 or
close
something.
matchup.
It is, 100%. But where he loses me is Jameer Gibbs and Damian Pierce.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I
Agreed.
was about to say, I mean, Daryl Henderson.
He's not.
worries me a
Real
bit.
quick, he went back to the practice squad. I already read his.
I did
little-
too. I did too. I think
Yeah.
he'll get elevated, so I don't think him being in the lineup.
series.
Henderson did.
I think he'll get elevated.
Promoted?
Yeah, elevated from the practice squad for the game, and I think he'll be used similarly to what he was last week. So I don't think.
They're probably gonna do kind of like what Baltimore did with Melvin Gordon there and elevate him like the day before the game.
Yeah.
Because you can do that, I think, 3 times
Yeah.
before you've got to offer them like a 53-man contract.
Yeah.
You can't keep them on your practice squad anymore. So and Kyron Williams is only going to be on the IR for
2 more weeks.
he's got the full time. He's still got 3 more weeks, but one of those weeks is their bye game.
Oh yeah.
Or is
so
it their bye week, not their bye game. So yeah, that's good news to me that he should, a good sign that he'll hopefully be coming back and taking back over. But yeah, back to the matchup. Victor's lineup, aside from Henderson right now, just from running back through, he needs to find another running back now that Zach Moss is getting kind of worked out. Other than that, his front starting core is really solid. The flex battle should be AB right there with Waddle and Nakua
Yeah.
over Kittle and Osborne. So if AB does win, I think it'll be carried probably by those 2 guys. IDP, I think they're fairly evenly matched. Defensively, they're projected to hit the same. So
I think Kelsey will help.
yeah,
Slick Vic out
Always.
quite a bit.
always does. Although Kincaid putting up a nice
Yeah.
fight over there on
Yeah,
tight
nice
end,
numbers,
respectable, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's a spot where Vic gets a lot of his wins, or a lot of his points to go into his wins right there is the tight
Yeah.
end spot. So
I'm leaning towards AB, just based off, that like if you can kind of keep up with the tight end scoring, that's a major win there. And I don't think Brock Purdy's playing, so
Yeah, I think that's a big thing there.
yeah.
If he doesn't.
he did pick up PJ Walker.
Yeah,
It's not Brock Purdy, but
I
he does at
think
least have a good
he'd be
not a good quarterback, but
better off putting
Good
Brandon
option.
Cooks in there, honestly, than picking up PJ Walker.
yeah, maybe, yeah, because that Seattle defense actually has not been too bad.
Mhm. I think you're gonna pick him off probably 2 or 3 times.
Yeah,
Yeah, I don't think that'd be a good day for PJ.
yeah, might be the better option there.
Yeah.
I might have been a little too hasty with him, but we will see. Yeah, I guess on to Dong on TDs versus Silly Nannies.
Real quick, I've got Conquistadors.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, no, you're good. You guys both picked AB, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm going against the grain here. Conquistadors. I believe in his team this week. I think they get it done.
Fair.
I just got this gut feeling that AB's 2 running backs are going to fall so far short. It's going to really cripple his team.
Jared Allen's already
And
he's up over 40 now. He's
Christian Kirk's gonna disappear this week. He's ready for one of those games. It's Christian Kirk.
Yeah.
It's long overdue, and he's going against a pretty solid defensive team.
I think Tua could have a big game, potentially have a good game
he can
against
always
New England.
have a big game with that receiving.
Yeah. I mean, he better hope that he's targeting Tyreek more than he is Waddle.
But on to Dong on TDs versus the Silly Nannies. I'm taking Dong on TDs here. Just a really solid roster. Some of the matchups maybe favor the Silly Nannies a little bit better, but I just like Carson's team a lot.
Yeah, I think he's got the best team.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah.
Very well-rounded, top to bottom.
Yeah. I like a few of my players, but that's not gonna carry me. Like Lamar Jackson, Jacoby, TK, Hawkinson, all solid. Prescott's a solid QB2. And I like my defenses and my individual defensive players outside of D line. It's pretty sketch for me, but
Aluakon's in a class of his own, pretty much. So as at
Him and Zaire.
linebacker, yeah, him and Zaire.
Mm-hmm.
who's that?
Who's number one so far in the year?
One
Well,
That's one
linebacker.
of them.
Olaquan finally passed Zaire because that 42-point performance only put him 5 points above him.
Oh, okay.
Well, Cherokee, who I have,
He's up there.
he's
top
number
five.
4.
And
Number
he's
4.
been playing better each week.
God, he's a monster. Yeah.
Who's your linebacker?
Roquan Smith,
What's he? Do you know what his rank is right now?
I think he's 7th, 6th or 7th,
Solid.
without looking.
Yeah.
I got him and Logan Wilson, and Wilson's like 20th, but he's coming off his bye week. But he's kind of Roquan's been more up and down, whereas Wilson's kind of been consistent 14 to 16 week in, week out.
Yeah, so Roquan is 7, and then Okiriki's 6. Nolan's got the 5th best of 5, Fred Warner, and Zach's got Quincy Williams, who, when I was picking up linebackers a couple weeks in, he was one I considered, and I guess it really didn't matter which one. They're pretty much neck and neck, yeah. So.
All right. So are we all on Dong on TDs then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. All right. Moving up. I guess lastly to my matchup, Taint Stains versus OG Snowbone. I'll let you guys go first on this one. I want to hear what you guys have to say.
Well, I'm gonna go with the Taint Stains, your team, personally. I think Joe Burrow is gonna have a huge game against San Francisco. He's been trending upwards the last few weeks. He's coming off the bye. I think he's finally starting to get fully healthy from that calf. Him and Jamar are clicking. Like you said, I think T. Higgins is gonna have a fairly decent
He gets
game.
involved this
I
week.
think this is where he kind of starts clicking again, and I think that Cincinnati offense is just going to be running on all 4 gears. San Francisco coming off of back-to-back losses, Brock Purdy not being in, I just think they're not going to be able to handle Cincy's offense, and I think that's a huge difference there. I don't think Kareem Hunt's really going to do anything.
Questionable right now. Limited Thursday. So yeah.
He'll get
And I think the big one at running back is Breece Hall. The Giants have not been good against the run all year, and I think Breece Hall has the potential to have a monster game in terms of fantasy value. And I think that between him, Burrow, and a few players on his team underperforming, I think Kyle Pitts is going to underperform along with Devontae Adams. And personally, I've been hard on this stance all year, and I don't intend on changing. I think anybody playing Chiefs wide receivers, unless you absolutely have to, is not a smart decision. And I don't think Rashee Rice
has not looked too bad though.
He's trending upward.
He's been better than I thought. I guess
His last
I
3
looked at his game
weeks
watch
have
today,
been
and it was
solid.
better than I thought it was.
Is he doing better?
His last 3 weeks have been solid.
He's only been less than double-digit
Okay.
points twice this year.
Which, yeah, I mean, if you have other options to go, I'd probably.
Yeah, I would say this year he's probably a pretty solid flex option.
Yeah. Well, I guess looking at it, I guess I really hadn't actually looked at his points, just more so watching the games, and not really seen him do a whole lot outside of a touchdown here and there. I mean, like week 7, 60 yards and a touchdown, which I guess that is good flex numbers. Going through and looking at, was it week 3 at a 16-point game, 59 receiving yards, 4 first downs, 5 receptions. He had a solo tackle. I mean, I don't think the Chiefs receivers are all that great in terms of fantasy. I think Kendrick Bourne, Brees Hall, Joe Burrow are going to go off, whereas Hunt, Williams, Kyle Pitts, and Devontae Adams aren't really going to do a whole lot. And I mean, not necessarily anything against those players because they're all solid players, but Seattle's had a real solid defense, and Hunt hasn't been playing phenomenally. He's been serviceable, but not wide or running back 1 by any means. Kyle Pitts, Atlanta never targets him or uses him properly, so he has 1 or 2 big games a season and then just underperforms. And I think that continues this week. And I think Devontae Adams continues to be underutilized and underperforms compared to Jacoby Myers. Oh, I didn't even notice he has Quentin Johnson playing. I don't think he's really been used all that. He hasn't really been used all that much.
Yeah, pretty underwhelming.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna have to go with the Taint Stains here. I just think looking at the team and some of these matchups, I think he's got much more favorable matchups. And yeah, I mean, like you guys said earlier, I think looking at it really in some of these players, I think Snowbone has kind of lucked out on some of his matchups week to week on who he's played. Because, I mean, his team got some solid pieces, but just doesn't look all that great through and through.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is going to be a really close one. It's pretty tough to pick, but I'm leaning towards OG getting it done. I think Goff's going to have a pretty big bounce back game after that stinker against Baltimore. And I don't think, man, I was saying this last 2 weeks, but San Francisco's not going to get embarrassed again. I think they're going to make life hell for Joe Burrow, and he'll have a low-scoring game. Obviously, I give you the edge in receivers, Quentin Johnson, but it's going to be tough. The flex options, Adams, Wilson, I'm going to give the slight edge to Adams this week. I think he exposes Detroit. Rashi Rice Bourne, that's a wash. I think Bajan will probably crash down to earth this week.
Against the Chargers, though?
Yeah. I don't think so.
That defense sucks.
We'll see. I think he'll have under 15 fantasy points. Could be wrong. I'm going to take OG.
Well,
Much to ponder.
this is probably for me the toughest matchup of the week. I'm gonna be
Okay,
completely
bro.
honest.
Yeah,
it's
that's
super, super close. I don't understand why Johnston's in the wide receiver spot when he could have Adams there and then play Najee Harris in the flex. Something like that, or Jamal Williams.
Yeah.
It just seems kind of a silly game plan, but man, I've been back and forth. I've scratched out both picks already, and to be honest, the first time I picked OG, and a big part of that was Diggs going off and looking deeper at the IDP matchups. I'm like, man, it's Stain Wave, obviously. There's no way it's not. And then I thought about it, and I was like, man, that Stain Wave fucking stinks. This OG all day. He's going down.
I love it. Oh, man.
Yeah, smell that stink. Comes from a mile away. Yeah, I'm taking myself this week. I don't think it'll be quite as. I think it'll be a pretty close one. I think AB's Welfare and Victor the Conquistador will actually be a bit of a closer matchup this week. But I do think this one will be fairly close. But I am going to take myself. I think Burrow and Goff probably kind of end up watching. I don't think Burrow necessarily has a great day against San Francisco. I think he has an okay fantasy day, and I think Jared Goff probably gets about 35 fantasy points. So I think it'll be fairly comparable there. Running back, I like my advantage there. Even though Ken Walker is going against Cleveland, that does worry me, but Kareem Hunt's his running back right now. Questionable, probably going to be limited. Him and Pierre Strong I don't see it being that great. The Seattle defense, like I said, has been better. Javonte Williams, not with Brees Hall. I'll take my running backs. Wide receiver. Diggs so far, knock on wood, has not been going off. So as long as that stays going that way, I really like my chances to really dominate and maybe separate at the receiver spot. Tight end, I think, is going to be really interesting because both our tight ends actually play for the same team.
Oh yeah.
And both are fantasy relevant. So that right there could be interesting. They on the year relatively similar numbers altogether. Pitts' breakout games are a little higher, but Johnny's been a little more consistent. He didn't play much in the first game, get as many targets, but flex, I'm giving him the slight edge. Adams and Wilson, I think, actually has a pretty good week. I think Brees Hall has a really good week too, and sets them up in some good passing situations and Zach Wilson just looks for Garrett Wilson. That's all he throws to. He just like Garrett Wilson's targets like the last few games, or this season, I guess 5, 8, 9, 14, 7, 12. So he's just constantly looking for him, especially in the red zone too. So I like that. I like Brady said, Kendrick Bourne, Rashee Rice, pretty much a wash. I would maybe give the edge to Rashee Rice because he's been a little more consistent fantasy-wise this year. Super flex, I think it's going to be about the same. Probably about 25 to 29 points for each of them. That's what they're each projected for, is 25 and 29. I think it'll be about similar. IDP, I like my chances there by a lot. I think that's another spot where I can maybe separate and build on the lead. Honestly, if the Saints defense can just keep Gardner Minshew in check, I like my odds.
For the Saints at home.
The Ravens defense.
It's at
worried me
Indy.
a little bit
Okay.
there.
What's that?
So the Ravens defense against Arizona would worry.
Yeah,
me a
that
little
does
bit.
worry. That does worry me too. That is one thing.
Outside of that, I think I agree. I think you have the edge in IDP. I think Quentin Williams will have a big game against New York. TJ Watt's TJ Watt.
Mm-hmm.
I think Chris Jones will have a pretty big game. I think D-line will be pretty close, but I think DB is where you'll kind of separate. DB and linebacker.
Yeah. But yeah, I think the staying wave rides on. Stephon Diggs got his 5 catches and 7 targets. Just I guess has not done a lot with them. Does he have a fumble over here? Is that why his points are down?
He's only got 47 yards. 3
No
first
first downs,
47 yards, 6 receptions. He just really hasn't done much with his receptions.
I guess not.
In terms of fantasy relevance, he hasn't done much with him. He's got 3 first downs, but
Well, he just went up to a 6 catch. So maybe I should stop talking.
Did we get a touchdown this drive?
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
James
no, they'll give it to Gabe Davis.
Yeah. Do you guys have anything you want to add about fantasy or HDP or anything of the such?
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we've covered everything.
I don't think a trade for Christian McCaffrey is going to go through.
Think he keeps him?
I think he keeps him.
That's kind of what I was thinking.
I'm kind of
Yeah.
leaning towards that a bit
Yeah.
myself because I'm thinking if he was going to trade him, he would have taken an offer
Yeah.
at this point.
Yeah.
Zach offered him the keys to the castle, and I gave him.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, your offer was very respectable too. Yeah.
I gave him a QB1 and a solid RB2 plus a first round
Yeah.
pick.
Just
I
kind of
think if he
flirted
was
the
gonna,
idea.
From a team that right now is about 500, and I mean with his top pick, a 500 first round pick could be decent too. So.
Mhm.
I mean, I offered the Kirk Cousins 5th in fantasy for QBs. James Cook, starting caliber running back, will be his number 2 on his team next to Saquon, and then JSN, who's got tons of potential and has looked good.
Maybe just had his breakout week.
Yeah, I hope so.
Yeah. Yeah, like I said, it's 16 hours till the trade or something like that expires, and if it doesn't go through, it doesn't go through, and I'm gonna start looking at making other moves and trying to do other things.
Yeah, I think tomorrow or when my trade expires, I'll shoot one more trade over that way. I haven't quite decided what I'm gonna throw in it yet.
Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I don't want to give up too much and screw myself this year and in the future.
Mm-hmm.
Because Christian McCaffrey starts underperforming, or I give away a
Or
guy.
gets hurt again.
Yeah, gets hurt again, or I'm like, you know what? I'll give you Calvin Ridley, and then he starts actually performing like a wide receiver 1, and now I don't have a wide receiver 1. So it's kind of one of those things where
you already don't have a wide receiver.
I already don't got a wide receiver. Yeah, so I can't really.
You may as well. That's a good chance you can take.
It's one of those things. It's tough to make a trade like that for a player who has the potential to be such a high caliber player, because you want to give up, enough to ensure that you get him and not somebody else in the league, but you don't want to give up too much and set yourself up for failure in the future, especially in a dynasty league. Yeah, you give away all your picks. Yeah, it's a 2-round rookie draft, but
Which could be expanding too.
Which could possibly be expanding, but I mean, if you think about it, those first 2 rounds, just think about some of the rookies who are in there. Caleb Williams, Drake May, Marvin Harrison Jr., Malik Nabers,
Rome from Washington.
Yeah.
I don't know who any of these people are.
You should start too. Bro.
I know Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Shadur Sanders. Those are the
Shadur's
3.
not coming in this year.
Yeah, I know that, but those are the 3 college players I know.
I think Michigan's quarterback is coming in.
JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
I like him a lot.
Yeah, I like him a lot too.
I've heard that name.
I think he's going to be a really good, depending on who he goes to.
I low key think Vikings are going to target him.
Yeah, I think depending on who he goes to, he has the potential to be really good, really early in the league.
Number 1 QBR in college, accurate on all 3 levels, strong arm. Yeah, dude.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lot.
He's got a high football IQ.
A lot of leadership qualities. The only knock I would say on him is he's like a little. He's 6'3", but like weight wise, he's only like 200 pounds.
Yeah, a little small.
You kind of want him to pack on a little bit of weight, but that's not really a big concern.
No, and I mean, when you think about it, he's already got a real strong arm. If he packs on 10, 15 pounds of muscle, how much stronger and more accurate is he going to be then?
Right.
I think there's a few players like him, depending on where they go to.
Quinn
and
Ewers
fall.
is intriguing, my God, but like he's just inconsistent.
Yeah.
Michael Penix.
Michael Penix, he scares the shit out of me, dude.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I can trust him, and his lower body mechanics are just weird, dude.
Mm-hmm. I think Michael Penix is a guy who the best thing for him would be going to a team who's got a quarterback under contract for a year or 2.
And also he's 24.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So go to a team like the Saints or the Raiders or the Seahawks, somebody who has a decent established starting quarterback.
That would actually be really good for him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He's got a rocket arm. He's a lefty. He's compared to Tua, but I don't know. I don't know if I would take that risk.
I don't know if I would either.
I think there were 3 quarterbacks I'm really high on her. Obviously Williams, May, and then McCarthy.
Yeah, I agree with
Ewers
you.
is man, I don't know. He's obviously got a bunch of arm talent, but I don't
Now that you say that out loud, I kind of see Penix going to the Seahawks.
Yeah, I can totally see that. That'd be a good fit. Washington, Seattle. That's perfect actually for him. Perfect. Yeah, I could talk college prospects all fucking night. I love that shit.
Yeah, it is fun.
Love mocking. It's a blast, especially when no football's going on. You just kind of
Yes,
study
one
it.
of my favorite things to do is look at
Oh,
mock
look at
drafts.
any mock
and-
drafts I can find online and like just look at it. And you can also do your own mock on PFF.
Really?
Yeah, and it's like you could trade and like you obviously force traders see what if they would accept that trade. Like say if you were drafting 12 and wanted to trade up to 3 to draft a quarterback. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But yeah, not much else to touch on for fantasy.
All right.
news.
Well, in that case, make sure you subscribe and share with your friends. Follow us all on Twitter. I guess not me, because I am once again
How long
permanently
are you banned
banned.
for?
What did I say this time?
No, how long? How long are you banned though?
Oh no, this account's gone.
Oh, for
Yeah, it's not coming back.
Oh,
They didn't even give me the warning. They said, no, you crossed the line. You're done. You're done. You're
damn,
gone.
bro.
I'm not gonna say exactly what I said, but it involves law enforcement. That's all I'll say. So, yeah, I am once again banned off the X. This is like 4th or 5th account I've gone through now. None of them will ever top that first one. Leap and Lane goes to RIP A321, A3-21. Anyway, subscribe, share. See you guys.
All right, see ya.
Later.